Welcome to the Bare Metal Cyber Security Plus podcast. This series helps you prepare for the CompTIA Security Plus exam with focused explanations and practical context. For a companion study guide, check out the Achieve CompTIA Security Plus 701 Exam Success by Dr. Jason Edwards. It is the most concise and complete Security Plus guide on the market, built for busy professionals who want to pass the exam fast and on their first try. You can find this book and others at cyberauthor.me. Data is the lifeblood of modern organizations. From customer records and transaction histories to internal communications and business strategies, data drives every decision, every service, and every system. But holding on to data is not without risk. Storing too much data for too long increases the chance of a breach, regulatory violations, or unnecessary exposure. That is why data retention and secure lifecycle management are so important. In this episode, we will explore how to create clear, compliant data retention policies and how to manage data securely across its entire lifecycle, from the moment it is acquired to its final disposal. Let's begin with data retention policies. A data retention policy defines how long specific types of data should be stored, where it should be kept, and how it should eventually be deleted. These policies help organizations reduce risk, stay compliant with legal requirements, and manage their storage resources effectively. Without clear retention rules, data can accumulate uncontrollably. This leads to cluttered systems, outdated records, and increased attack surfaces. Creating a good retention policy starts with understanding what types of data the organization handles. This includes financial data, health records, employee information, customer communications, contracts, intellectual property, and more. Each category may have different legal, regulatory, or operational requirements. For instance, tax records may need to be kept for 7 years to meet government regulations. Medical records may need to follow specific health information laws. Contracts might have longer retention periods for legal protection. Once the types of data are categorized, the next step is assigning appropriate retention durations. These should be based on legal requirements, business needs, and risk assessments. For example, some data might need to be kept indefinitely, while other information should be deleted after 90 days. Policies must also specify how data will be reviewed and deleted when it reaches the end of its retention period. This process should not be left to guesswork or manual review. It should be automated where possible and verified regularly. Improper data retention can have serious consequences. Holding on to data longer than necessary increases the risk that it will be stolen, misused, or accidentally exposed. On the other hand, deleting data too soon can violate legal retention requirements and result in fines or lawsuits. For example, if a company destroys emails that are later needed for a legal investigation, it could be charged with obstruction. Balancing these risks is a key function of a well-designed data retention program. Let's take a real-world scenario. A marketing firm stores customer data for use in future campaigns. Originally, they kept the data indefinitely, but after reviewing data protection laws, they realized they were violating privacy regulations that required them to delete personal data after a specific time period unless consent was renewed. The firm updated its data retention policy to remove inactive profiles after 1 year and added reminders to prompt users for renewed consent. This reduced their legal exposure and helped build trust with their customers. Now let's turn to the second half of the episode, secure data lifecycle management. A data lifecycle describes the stages that information passes through in an organization, from its creation or collection to its storage, usage, sharing, archiving, and final deletion. Secure data lifecycle management ensures that data is protected at every stage, not just when it is stored. The first stage is data acquisition. Whether data is collected through online forms, business transactions, or third-party integrations, security must be built in from the beginning. This includes using encryption for data in transit, validating input to avoid injection attacks, and verifying the legitimacy of the data source. From the moment data enters the organization, it should be classified and tagged according to its sensitivity. This ensures it receives the correct level of protection as it moves through the system. Next comes storage. Data should be stored securely with access controls based on the principle of least privilege. Only those who need the data should have access to it, and systems should track who accessed it and when. Encryption at rest is a best practice, especially for sensitive or regulated information. Regular audits should verify that storage systems comply with organizational policies and that data has not been altered or accessed improperly. The third stage is use. As data is used in applications, analytics, or workflows, organizations must ensure that it is not exposed through insecure endpoints, unpatched systems, or unauthorized users. Data masking can help protect information during testing or reporting. Monitoring tools can track usage patterns and alert administrators to abnormal behavior that may signal insider threats or compromised accounts. Policies should also govern how data is shared, both internally and externally, to prevent leakage or overexposure. After active use, data may be archived for long-term storage. This often includes records that must be kept for regulatory or historical reasons, but are no longer used on a day-to-day basis. Archived data should still be encrypted, monitored, and protected from unauthorized access. It should also be retrievable in a timely manner for audits, legal inquiries, or compliance reviews. However, archives should not become dumping grounds for outdated or unnecessary data. Regular reviews are needed to ensure archived data is still relevant and appropriately protected. Finally, the last stage of the life cycle is disposal. Once data reaches the end of its retention period, it must be securely deleted. This ties back to the topics we discussed in our previous episode: sanitization, destruction, and certification of disposal. The disposal process must align with both the data retention policy and the organization's broader security framework. It should be automated where possible, verifiable, and regularly audited to ensure that nothing slips through the cracks. A strong example of lifecycle management in action can be found in the financial services sector. A bank might collect customer information during account creation, encrypt and store it securely, use it to deliver services, archive it after account closure, and finally destroy it once all legal retention requirements are met. Throughout this life cycle, the data is tracked, logged, and protected according to internal policy and regulatory mandates. Any deviation is flagged and investigated. This level of control ensures compliance and protects customers' financial information. Another example is in software development. A tech company builds an app that collects user feedback. During development, they store the feedback in a testing environment with fake data. Once live, the app collects real feedback, which is encrypted, stored in the cloud, and made accessible to the support team. After 6 months, the feedback is archived. After 1 year, it is deleted automatically. Each stage of the data's lifecycle is clearly defined and aligned with the company's privacy policy. To summarize, effective data retention and secure lifecycle management go hand in hand. Retention policies define how long data should be kept and when it should be deleted, helping organizations stay compliant and minimize risk. Secure lifecycle management ensures that data is protected at every stage, from acquisition and storage to use, archiving, and final disposal. These practices support legal compliance, reduce the risk of breaches, and improve operational efficiency. For the Security Plus exam, be prepared to identify the components of a data retention policy, explain the risks of improper retention, and describe how data should be managed across its lifecycle. Expect scenario questions involving data that was kept too long, deleted too early, or exposed due to poor lifecycle controls. Be familiar with terms like data classification, encryption at rest, and in transit, archiving, and data disposal method. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Bare Metal Cybersecurity Plus podcast. For more episodes, tools, and study support, visit us at baremetalcyber.com. And before you take the test, make sure to check out the practice questions in the book Achieve CompTIA Security Plus SY0-701 Exam Success by Dr. Jason Edwards. They cover every domain and are a powerful way to lock in your knowledge.